right. Welcome to the podcast, the Big and Small Media podcast. I'm the small one. I'm Zach.
I'm the big one. I'm Darren. And
And we have a special guest today. My friend Brett Neithamer is here to talk Justice League.
Hey guys, how's it
the Snyder
going?
Cut, to be specific. Hey,
Yeah.
Brett.
Snidey, that Schneider.
The Snyder Cut. Hardly know her.
Since this is going to probably be a longer podcast, we'll probably jump right into it for the most part. I want to
man.
start
Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. I was really fucking stoked when you asked me to be on here. So,
anytime.
Really happy to be here.
Couldn't think of a better person because I think you might be the only one that I know who loves this movie as much as you do. So,
but we'll talk about that. We should start by. We'll get that. I'll preface by saying, me and Darren and Sean recently, before the Snyder Cut came out, we rewatched Justice League, the first one.
The old Josstice League.
Boy, yep, it was not good. It set the bar pretty low.
It's fucking bad.
Yeah. How do you feel about that movie, Brett? I know you've written an article about it, but
yeah, that movie hurts me. It's like, especially coming at it from like a creative standpoint, like that movie is the definition of too many cooks in the kitchen. Like I think part of why I'm so excited about Snyder Cut is like the history of what happened to that movie, because like it's really interesting. Like there's this clear progression with Warner Brothers with their DC movies, with like Man of Steel being a hit, and they're like, all right, cool, we like this. And then immediately with the next film, Batman v Superman, they had him cut a half an hour of stuff out of it, which like genuinely hurt the film. Like they cut out a bunch of plot points that help the whole plot make sense. And when you do that, like you run into problems. But they in the beginning touted, oh yeah, we're gonna focus on like director and creative, driven films. And with that second film, they immediately went back on that word. And it got worse. It got worse with Suicide Squad, because since everyone complained about Batman v Superman being too dark, and since simultaneously Deadpool just came out and was like a smash hit, Warner's was like, all right, so we want to change the tone of this movie. So they had him reshoot half the film to like make the tone more jokey. And then they had the company that edited the trailer edit together the film. They didn't have an actual professional like film editor. They had the company that edits trailers cut that film together, and that's why it feels like a music video. It feels like a 2-hour-long music video, and like all the goods and bads that come with that, and like it's very disjointed. And then they decided, you know what, fuck it. With the next round, we're gonna go all the way and completely alter the film. So like, you have Justice League in production in 2016. It is the version that was being shot originally was, what we saw recently, released on March 18th.
Right.
And then after Snyder's daughter Autumn committed suicide, he left the project, obviously for personal reasons, to deal with that and to be with his family. And here's like where it like really upsets me. This was right around the time when there was that big merger and that buyout, and AT&T bought Warner's. Okay. So Warner Brothers could have postponed the film in order to let, Zach grieve and then come back and finish shooting. But if they did that, if they pushed the release date, that would mean it would go back another quarter, meaning they wouldn't get their $1 million bonuses that year.
So it's all about that money.
Exactly. So they kept the same release date, and they hired Joss Whedon to completely, take over as director.
Yeah.
And per their mandate, they wanted it to be like a Marvel film. They wanted it to be less than 2 hours. They wanted it to be much more jokey. And, they wanted a brighter, lighter film. And Joss, I don't know if he did his best, but he did something to try and take the 4 hours of story and condense it into less than 2. And that's like, to me, that I think that's where the original theatrical cut is the most like glaringly, where you can literally see the glue holding it together. Where they
got the guy who did 2 Marvel movies to try to do a DC movie.
Exactly, and like he even copies himself. Like in the Snyder Cut, there's the debate about whether or not to bring Superman back from the dead, and the team is united. Like, and that's an important part of the film is they all need to agree to this, and they do because they realize that the whole team needs to be together. But in Josstice League, like he literally does the exact same thing he did in both of his Avengers films, and he has inner turmoil within the group break them up. And Diana disagrees, but then she still like comes back to join them for some reason. But then when she's proven right and Clark like turns on them, it would make sense for her to be like, yeah, I was right, so I'm not helping you. But no, wait, we already shot the rest of that movie where she helped them, so we need to have her join the team back up for like it just like it doesn't make sense. It's a Frankenstein movie. Like another great example of how they tried to stitch things together. So there's that extra scene in the Snyder Cut where Willem Dafoe's character Volko meets with Aquaman, Jason Momoa.
Right.
In actuality, a good portion of that scene could have been taken out. However, he is the one that informs, Aquaman, hey, there's the mother box, where it's located, but, this is your duty now. Your mom would have done it, but she's not around, so you got to take up this and handle this shit, man, and help us out, right? Okay. So by so that's like why he's like, all right, so then that's your connection there, like why he shows up, because this guy that he trusts is like, hey, go do this. The theatrical cut has him go directly from saving that guy on the boat to the bar scene. And then they just digitally added parademon blood on his hand, which, I mean, like, wouldn't that have washed off?
Yeah.
How do you know that's parademon blood? Have you ever seen a parademon Aquaman? And he just, like, puts all this together, and he's like, I need to go to the mother box. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that movie doesn't make sense, the Josstice League version, at least. But
another thing that I didn't even, like, realize until I went back to it after watching the Snyder Cut when I was like, writing my reviews and comparing the two. In Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, Snyder's Justice League, and even Wonder Woman 2, at no time in any of those films does the camera sexualize Wonder Woman in any way. Even in Wonder Woman 2 with that like weird like love story subplot, the way it's filmed still never like takes her as a sexual object. She is her own person. If you go back and rewatch Josstice League, Whedon put in so many gratuitous shots of her ass for no reason. And it's like really weird. And it's not something you think about when initially watching the film. But then when you go back and watch like how someone else shoots this like powerful warrior character, you realize like, whoa, that's weird. Like, why did you need those?
Well, Flash had to fall on her tits. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That had to happen.
That was so bad. Oh my god.
I mean,
then
sex
Aquaman
sells,
had to tell
boys,
her how hot
so.
she is. That's true.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god. Yeah, that was so bad.
Well, I mean, and even Barry, in both cuts, Barry Allen was still like, couldn't talk because of,
Yeah,
her.
I mean, he definitely has like a flirtation to her, but thank God he doesn't fall on her tits at least. My goodness.
True.
Well, all right. Now that we've talked about the Josstice League, let's get into this Snyder Cut. I'm going to start with some of the positives I have first, just because it'll be, and we can talk about this stuff, see how you feel about it. I think one of the biggest positives to this movie is that they removed a bunch of the unnecessary and cringy scenes from obviously the Joss Whedon version.
Oh,
like the first scene with Batman and the parademon, where he's just like,
it's so bad,
using the fear to track the parademon. And he just lets this guy who just robbed this house leave.
Yeah.
Dude, he doesn't just let him leave. He's like having a fucking conversation. Dude's like, oh,
yeah,
what was that, Batman? Like, what the? You almost just killed me, but what was that, Batman? Like,
and he's like hopping around like as he's wrapped up.
I just murdered this family in this house, so I'm gonna leave.
And Batman's like, oh, it was this thing. I think I'm gonna go chase it though. See you later, motherfucker. So like, that part was so fucking dumb.
as I was typing in my review, I was thinking about this, and like you bring up an excellent point just with that opening scene. Think about the Josstice Cut, and think about how much that opening scene needs to establish. Batman knows what a parademon is. He knows that they hunt through fear. He uses a guy as bait. He then discovers that they are attracted to sirens. He also discovers that they explode, making the mother boxes, which then Alfred links and has to like tell us what's going on. That's a lot for one scene to do. And then compare that to the way Snyder opens his film. Superman's dying yell wakes up one of the mother boxes.
Wakes up all of them, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's all.
It wakes up one of them, and the other two remain silent because Steppenwolf still needs to find them. That's why he's kidnapping all the rest of those people.
Oh, that's fair. And then they removed. I like that they removed like the whole Russian family thing at the end. Was super weird and kind of just made it so Flash had something to do, even though he's like one of the strongest characters there.
Exactly,
which is super weird.
Yeah, and then they just have Superman do his job for him, anyways.
That was a positive. A positive too about the end of the Superman isn't like this Deus Machina that just shows up, beats everything. But
at least not as much as he was in Josstice League. I mean, he's always going to be that, but just because of the nature of his superpowers. But
I hated in the original cut, in the Josstice League version, that Flash didn't know how to fight or do anything. Because I'm like, how have you been going this whole time and not been He just says that he runs up and pushes people, but pushing somebody at the speed anyway would launch them across like the street. And he does that in this version. Like he flicks a parademon and it goes through like a wall. Yeah.
And then he like effortlessly jumps around and destroys all the debris, like saving those people.
I loved and hated that scene. I just want you to know, because that scene looked really cool. Like when it's because it shows it from like the people's point of view, where he's just like zipping around super fast, destroying them, and then for some reason he misses some of it, and then Cyborg goes up and destroys it. I was like, come on, couldn't have just given it to the Flash, like. And I have the same problem in this as I did with the other one, with the Flash deciding to like tripping like 1,000 times for some reason. Well, where his whole thing is running. Why are you tripping like 10 times in this movie?
That's true, but at least it's a little bit more like either when he's showing off or not paying attention, instead of just like I don't know how to fucking run like it is in Josstice.
That's true. He still runs like a fucking turd, but
I don't know, man. The main part
runs like with our arms and legs flailing, but.
It's like how Tom Cruise runs, where he's just like stabbing into the air.
Looks like his fucking knees are about to break off his body when he's fucking running.
I did also really like the detail of the first time we saw him running fast. Like I really liked that detail of him like breaking through his shoes, and then the glass like warping before it broke. And then I also thought it was smart how when he saved Iris, he didn't like he just like kind of grabs them. But I thought it was smart how they were like, well, momentum, like he needs to kind of like go with the momentum she's already in. Otherwise, you pull a Gwen Stacy like Spider-Man.
I have super mixed feelings on that scene.
That scene was like 1/4 cool and 3/4 cringy.
I liked what they were going for in that scene. Like it showed him saving somebody and using his powers and stuff. But like, it just felt weird that he was like caressing her while she was like flying to her death potentially, and like grabbing this hot dog midair. And I was like, I get it was supposed to be funny, but it was just kind of strange. And she apparently got to like 60 miles an hour in half a second and hit that truck so fucking hard.
Yeah,
her car just went flying.
Her car wouldn't even start, and then all of a sudden she's going from 0 to 60 in fucking 0.5 seconds, I guess. So
she's like
a couple continuity errors here, but you know.
I did really like the Flash, like the whole shoes exploding in the.
I think the music in that scene definitely adds to the like creepiness factor of it. I think that music was a big misstep. But I also, it's funny that hot dog joke, I actually think it plays better when you watch it a second time, because like, when you're watching it, you're like, what the fuck, what is going on with this? Like he's grabbing a hot, and then like the punchline is like, he did it because interviewing to work for a dog. So like the joke is like while he's rescuing this girl, he's also going, oh hey, that'd be pretty good for my job interview right there. I'm just gonna keep on. So like, but it's weird. It's weird that first time you watch it.
It is really weird the first time because he's just like grabbing this wiener next to her face, and I'm like, where is this going?
What is happening?
And like even as much as I think the dialogue in Snyder's Cut pertaining to like Flash's lines, I think they are a massive improvement. Still though, his first lines about the lady on the bus and like the pocket monster, it's bad. Like it's cringeworthy. It's rough.
It was pretty bad. I mean, they definitely improved Flash in this movie.
Yeah.
Not to jump too far ahead, but I think his like ending scene was fantastic.
We can talk about that more later because that's fucking awesome.
There's kind of rough implications to that scene, but that makes like why wouldn't you just do that every time? But if you can already run through time or whatever.
I mean, when we get to be fair, we will get to it more. But to be fair, I feel like he would just like was discovering that he could do it. So, or do you mean like in the future the implication is that like he'll just do it all the time?
Issues with that, yeah. He's like weird things happen when I go that. That's why he doesn't like go that.
Because he has that rule or whatever to not go past light speed or whatever. But
I just felt like they didn't build up to it enough for like a 4-hour movie. I felt like they could have hinted at that.
There was only like one scene where they built up to it.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, I don't want to go faster than light, and I have this rule. Well, the whole time he could have been like, I don't know what's gonna happen or something like that.
Yeah, because they have that moment with the mother box reversing, which I thought was really cool. But like you're right. In a 4-hour like movie, like they probably should have had one more moment of like like showing you that like really quick, just to kind of remind you.
It's not the first time DC movie's done that. In fucking Wonder Woman 2, she fucking learned how to turn her jet invisible instantly. So
that's true.
Yeah. Through dialogue, I will explain that I've been trying this for a very long time.
And I did it to a cup, and now I can do it to a jet when my powers are disappearing. So,
yeah, I thought Flash was definitely an improvement. I thought his scenes were a lot better in general. Yeah. Then they really improved Cyborg in the movie.
So much.
It made me actually like him. This is a hilarious moment that when we were watching it, when Diana first meets Cyborg, and she tells him that the world needs his help or whatever. Right after she said that, Darren is just like, "Fuck the world."
But I said it was like a thuggish, almost like kind of like almost like an NWA, like "fuck the world," like a rap song, like super ironically, and like there's no way this would ever be a line in this movie. And then he says it.
Yeah, the next second, Cyborg's like, "Fuck the world." They're like, "Oh Jesus."
Dude, we lost it for probably like 5 minutes.
Oh, he definitely lives in that like comic book world. It's like we're like, this is what you came for, buddy.
It's rated R now.
Those tropes and dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot it was rated R. So, but even then, even still, I just wasn't expecting that like hard ass cliche line.
It's like a Dirty Harry moment.
Right. But that was pretty good. Then I mean we got to see Cyborg actually like testing out his powers and stuff like that, and not being like just a mopey bitch for like 90% of the movie.
Yep,
which is good.
The scene where he helps that single mom is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
that was good.
And I think that it's like a really great like small scene that perfectly sums up like what a true hero is, and it's just this small moment where he sees a person in need and helps them.
Yeah, just doing selfless stuff. It's good. He could make himself rich, but he's helping other people.
Until the IRS tracks that money back to her and she gets thrown in jail.
How did you get this?
Well, I think the whole thing was like making it seem like it was a sweepstakes winning is like that.
But I mean, he took that money from somewhere. So unless he was able to like, he is a master hacker, so he could probably like make it like trailless. There's no trail that they could follow to lead it.
Little do you know, the Pentagon's gonna be looking through their budget and be like, "My God, we're $20 short."
$20? He gave her like fucking $100,000 or something.
Yeah, I think it was like 25,000 or something.
Something crazy.
It was a good amount.
I do agree that Cyborg's arc was definitely better. And let me say, like, I acknowledge that this movie was like objectively better than the Josstice League cut. However, that's like saying like, wow, the shit that I took yesterday was better than the shit that I took today. So like it's still shit to me, but
there's definitely better stuff in this. It just the they added a lot of scenes to this movie that I felt really didn't need to be there, and was really there to just extend the time. Like,
Yo,
cause, like they
that's
wanted it to be like this big epic, but it needed to be 4 hours for some reason. And I'm
that's
just like,
fair. I genuinely think that if Snyder was able to, like, if we went back in time and Justice League was never like put together, and they gave Snyder the time to grieve and come back, I guarantee you we would not have gotten this 4-hour cut. It would have probably cut down to like 3 hours, and then this would have been like the director's cut on Blu-ray kind of thing.
right.
And you're right, and that is definitely one of like the weaker points of the film. Is there are absolutely some unnecessary scenes. Like, I love Martian Manhunter, but he is only there to set up a sequel that may or may not ever happen. And like, it's true though. Like, see, it's also interesting because you have to like remember that because this film was made back when they were like greenlighting sequels and like getting ready. Like, this is essentially like an Avengers 2, which had the same kind of stuff where it was just like sequel teasing and stuff. Yeah. And like, so it's like, it makes sense that it would have been done that way. But of course, now we're watching it and we're like, well, that'll never happen. So, you know, it's like weird. It's like this in like a weird bubble, like of like a time capsule. Like, this is what, like a what if, you know?
Yeah, Martian Manhunter is something that really upset me in this movie.
Yeah, that scene was a thorn in Zach's side from the moment it aired.
Yeah,
the one where he's talking to Lois.
Yeah,
literally one of the most useless scenes in the whole entire movie.
It absolutely is. It's literally only there to set up Lois's importance for a sequel. Like, it's.
I feel like it's even less important than that.
For this movie, it's literally for what
I feel like they already. The problem is, I feel like they already set that up before this scene, and like, so
they did that. The problem with that is they did that in Batman vs Superman. Flash came in and was like, Lois is the key or whatever.
Yeah.
And Superman is a bad guy or whatever the fuck he says. I can't remember. It's something about Lois being the key.
Yep.
So they already did that in Batman vs Superman, and it would have been okay if that was somehow brought up again in this movie. But using Martian Manhunter for it felt really bad for some reason.
No,
because like he's here.
Stupid.
So you're showing us like not even halfway through this movie that he's here, but he's doing nothing.
Yeah, talking to fucking fucking Martha Clark or whatever the fuck her name is.
Pretending to be
no, it's
Martha.
true. It's true. It's like it does not do much to add anything, and he absolutely needed to be cut out of that film.
Yeah, and he turns back into the general.
Yeah,
or
like just for the audience to be like,
he was here last movie, but again, it did nothing when Doomsday was there.
The Earth is getting destroyed, and he's like, I have a stake in this too, and it's like,
and then in the
show
comics,
me then,
he's like Superman tier strength.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
Do something. Just show yourself.
Nah, man, he's got to talk to Martha Clark, man. He's got more important things to do.
Oh my god, I liked the way he looked in the movie too, but like
the scars.
Nothing about him in that movie made sense.
Oh yeah, no, he was utterly pointless. He was utterly. You look cool. Thanks for showing up. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it would have been much better if that end credit scene with him in it would have been him just like showing up to Earth for the first time.
Yeah.
And like coming up to Batman.
When it was initially shot, he wanted to use Green Lantern, but HBO said no. Warner Brothers said no. We want to do our own thing with Green Lantern, so hold off. So he had to replace him with Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, which is fine. I like Martian Manhunter. I like him a lot. I think he's a cool character, but it just. Even if that was Green Lantern, it would have been the same thing. Like there's no reason for you to be here right now if you're not going to help. Like,
yep. No, I agree.
I've been like Hal Jordan being there talking to Lois for some reason, pulling out the ring and being like, "I'm gonna go do something other than help people.
I'm gonna go fucking use this as a cock ring. Like, see you later."
So I wonder if in the original version, if he had gotten Green Lantern, does that mean then that the movie would have kept that scene as Martian Manhunter and introduced Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern? Because that's so much to not.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 4-hour movie. You got plenty of fucking time to do it. So
the bits probably would have been cut, like 100%. They would have been gone.
So that I definitely Martian Manhunter definitely a thorn in my side, like Dan
Yeah,
said.
that was like the joke of the night after that, because we were like, I wonder if Martian Manhunter's going to be in this scene anywhere.
Yep. Just hiding somewhere. But then
Yeah.
I was glad that I was thinking that they were going to use the black suit for Superman in this movie, kind of just because he's being mopey or edgy or something like that.
Mhm.
But I'm glad they used it in the same context as they do in the comics, which
Yeah.
is it allows him to get more like heal faster essentially with the sun,
Yep.
which is him flying up doing his like Jesus moment or whatever
Yeah.
with the sun,
Yeah.
which made sense,
That
and I was
part-
glad he kept it through the movie.
So that part was actually, I'll give him credit, was actually legitimately cool. Like, I really liked that part, to be honest with you.
No, I agree, and it's like it's so great because that also Snyder's cut does his Man of Steel justice in terms of like this arc he's been setting up for Clark since Man of Steel, the first film, where Josstice League just throws all that away, and that's a big element of this film is Clark is dead, Superman's dead. Like you actually feel that in this cut. Like Bruce talks about how he needs to atone for what happened, and Flash talks about how he really looked up to Superman and all these things. And you have like his presence is there in the film being felt without him being there. So then when he does get brought back, and you have that wonderful scene where he's walking through the hallway picking his suit, and you have both of his fathers like echoing their words to him, telling him now is the time like to rise up and stuff. Like that's really good, and it turns that moment when he shows up at the end into less of a Deus Ex Machina and more of like an earned climactic punch, kind of thing.
It felt a lot better just having him be there and not be just I'm back from the dead. I'm here to win. I'm just gonna win for you this time.
In terms of both Superman and Batman's arcs, like I genuinely think this is one of those like series where it's really important to like watch them, not necessarily like strictly in a row, but like as one big, kind of story being told over multiple chapters, because you even have callbacks with Jor-El's speech in Man of Steel that thematically come back in Justice League, where he's talking about how like the people of Earth, like you will be an ideal that they strive towards. They will race after you. They will stumble, they will fall, but they will eventually join you in the sunlight. And that is like literally Flash and Cyborg, especially with the way this cut ends with Cyborg like lifting off into the sun and Barry racing through the streets. Like it's this wonderful cinematic like thematic circle that he brings together.
Right. Yeah, that was all really good. I think they used Superman a lot better in this movie for the most part. Still had his weird "I'm evil" scene.
Yeah.
It was a little more interesting in this movie because it was extended, but
the lasso like gets around him, and she like she's like, tell me who you are, and he's just like, no.
Yeah. It looks so goofy when they're in like the slow-mo Flash zone and the Speed Force, and he's just coming after Flash the whole time with this weird grin like on his face. I'm just like, this is so
I will say that part I did like the part where like the Flash was like coming up to try to like pull a fast one on Superman, and Superman is just like, I see you, motherfucker. Like he's like, you're not too fast for my dumb ass. I can still see you. I think that part's really cool too.
Works in this version, and remember how weird it felt in Justice League?
Yeah, it felt very awkward in Justice League.
Well, that CG mouth didn't help anyone.
Oh, I'm so glad that another thing that I was very happy about in this movie was that whole mustache being taken care of. That scene with him in the beginning talking to the kids where his mouth just doesn't look like it's even connected. Just glad that's gone in general.
Oh, and that stupid line, like calling back, like, do you bleed? Like someone asked.
Oh God, yeah.
And he was like, why would he say that? Makes no sense why he would say that.
Right.
That also reminds me of someone asked Snyder, because he has not seen the Justice League cut. Yeah. And so someone asked him about the whole thing with Flash being like, I never fought, I just push people kind of thing. And they're like, is that version in your movie? Verbatim response. He went, what the fuck?
Right?
That scene
superhero.
with fucking the Flash in their theatrical cut is so dumb. Where he's like,
It is.
I can't. It's like, bro, you can literally move faster than they can see you. Just go fucking do it. What are you
Right?
talking about? You're scared. Like, you literally could do it without them even knowing you were there. So, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's interesting how they use the Speed Force in this too. Yeah, because it's like, it's not like he's moving fast. It's like he's in his own like world almost.
Yeah, like
when he activates it. Because there's literally times where he's just standing, and like things are moving slow around him. Which I get, he's supposed to be like vibrating super fast.
Yeah.
But like, it just feels weird. But that's not just this movie. That's anytime anybody's using super speed as like a power, where I'm like, why are they just standing there and things are still in slow motion? Like you're supposed to be moving around to get this to happen. But
I thought
Speed Force is super fucked in the comics.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even to start his movements, they are at super speed, so it looks like he's standing, but he's really not. You know what I mean?
It uses. I think this film was unique in the fact that they actually like tried to visualize it as like an actual Speed Force instead of just like he moves fast,
like an actual like power.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was neat, and like yeah. And again, I really like that he actually did stuff in this movie instead of whimpering the whole time, for the most part. And then,
it's very interesting to see in Act 3 how, like, every single character is like important to the plan in Snyder's cut. You have
they all do something.
Like Batman's running interference. Flash is building up the charge in order to push Cyborg into the mother boxes so he can defeat the Unity, which is like the main thing. And then you have Aquaman and Wonder Woman working as the heavies to keep Steppenwolf away. So then that way in Snyder's cut, when Superman shows up, he is not the Deus Ex Machina that just fixes everyone's problems. He's literally just the backup for the heavy that they need. He's Hulk kind of thing. And he does his thing. But then when Flash gets hit and they miss their timing with the Unity, like he's just as dead as everyone else.
They
relies on Flash to save everyone. Which Flash is one of my favorite DC characters, and I was so happy that we actually got to see him like do his thing and like prove why he is such a paramount character in DC. And like this was even just a hint. And I honestly cannot wait for the Flash movie because the guy who directed Mama and the It films is directing that. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, the Flash is so fucking overpowered in the comic books. But I'm sure they won't get that crazy in the movies, but he outruns death at one point and just travels back through time all the time.
It's also very interesting because if you look at Snyder's plans, his whole concept was a 5-movie arc, and his arc was built to begin and end, and then like you can move on and do another reboot. Like how Christopher Nolan had just his trilogy, Snyder had his 5-movie, plan. And so the idea was basically building each of these characters into their ideal version of themselves. Right. So by the time you ended Justice League 3, their character arcs were Flash is now a god of speed. Cyborg is like a digital god. Wonder Woman has like created world peace, and Clark's arc was for him to become more human. It was going to be the inverse kind of thing.
Batman's still rich.
Yeah, like he had
richer.
Yeah.
So he had
buying
this, like,
banks and whatnot.
Yeah. And like they actually released his concept art and outline for them, and it's epic and it's brutal, and it's the reason why like he had a bunch of these like the nightmare sequences is all setting up for Justice League 2 and 3, and that the entirety of Justice League 3 was going to be set in the nightmare timeline. This is the whole thing, like and Justice League 2 was showing how you got there. And it was this massive, like Lord of the Rings, one story told over, whatever. Yeah. And then because, the studio hired Joss Whedon to come in, all of that, they changed their plans completely. Yeah. So, like, who knows? As of right now, there's no word. They have claimed that HBO Max is the one that basically holds the fate in their hands. Warner Brothers does not want to do anything with the Snyderverse in the theatrical world. They want to keep their versions going in movies. But HBO Max has apparently been very interested with what he had planned for Justice League 2 and 3. So if he's given the chance to finish that, it's only going to be through HBO Max, and it will probably be like a TV series like they did the Watchmen show.
That would be interesting. I would definitely watch it to see where it goes, and we're gonna jump around a bit. But with that, oh god, that I did not like that nightmare sequence at the end. Thought it was intensely cringy. It just like hurt me on the inside.
For me, it was.
I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker in the first place. I thought he was worse in this movie.
Interesting.
For me, it was
better, but
it was less of a cringe thing for me. Like I honestly didn't mind his Joker, to be honest with you. For me, it was just the placement of it. It just like felt so awkward and out of place and just almost like useless, and like they should have made it an after credits scene, not like a scene before the credits. Like
that's absolutely what it feels like. That's what it feels like for sure. And it definitely made the film kind of have like a Lord of the Rings Return of the King thing where it's just like, how many endings do you have on this movie? Like,
right? Like, what's the next ending after the nightmare? It was fucking
It's like, oh,
Batman gets his back broken by Bane. All right.
Like, I thought that Leto's performance was better. He's still not my favorite Joker by a long shot, but I guess I hate him less, just a little bit less. I really liked how like he brought up Robin and like taunting him about that, and like that was cool. I appreciated that. But yeah, it was, again, it's another like setup for the sequel. It's another dream, just like in Batman v Superman that, you know, Bruce is having. And so in a way, like its motivation is just like the fear of like, uh-oh, this could be the future. I need to stop this. But other than that, like it is just a tease for another movie that, again, we may never get. Like, so, but also it's also very interesting, like how that scene came about. That was the only scene that was added. It was the only new footage that he shot. And his reasoning behind it was, well, if my plans for my cinematic universe are going to hell, this could literally be the only time that I would have to have this iteration's version of Batman and Joker in a scene together. So if this is the only time I get, then I might as well do it, kind of thing. And like, I get that, but it's definitely like,
I mean, I get it. They just could have placed it better. Like, I was waiting because, like, I feel like that scene was so hyped up before it came out, and then I was like waiting. The whole 4 hours, like, where in the fuck is this nightmare scene supposed to happen? And I was like, at the very end, and I was like, I thought this was going to happen like in the middle of the movie.
Society.
Yes, that's true, which is interesting. However, today they just released the black and white version. I have it actually playing right now. The reason he released a black and white version was because he edited the whole film in black and white and then translated it to color because obviously like the studio color. But this was the way he edited it, so he decided to release that. Apparently, the only difference besides it being in black and white is apparently there are alternate lines in Joker's scene. So I'm curious to see if that's where the "We Live in a Society" line is located.
That's fair.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to wait another fucking 2.5 hours to get to
Yeah.
I'm probably never gonna watch that movie again. So
it's too long.
It's just too long. It's just too long.
It is.
I'd have to watch it in like the episodic manner that people were saying you can watch it in or something if I was going to.
Yeah, and I think that was really smart of them to do that in the parts. Like that's a very, very smart way to do that so that you can, watch it in segments and stuff. I read an interview with him and they were like, were you like thinking about time length at all for your audience? And he was like, no, because we live in a binge society where people will watch 4 episodes of an hour-long TV show in a row. So, I mean,
it's true. It's not an untrue point.
Yeah, like we put the chapters there, so if you want to, breathe, you absolutely have that opportunity. But if you want to watch it all in one go, you can do that too.
That's fair. I'm gonna wait for the fan cut where they just take out all the pointless ass scenes and make it like a 3-hour movie. Like
when they take out like all fucking 7 hours of Lois Lane doing fucking nothing.
Yeah. Like when they're bringing back Superman and they just randomly cut to Lois getting coffee in a shop and then she leaves and they cut back. I'm like, what just happened? Why is this here?
What's funny is actually you're right. The placement of that moment is odd. However, logically, that is following up a storyline where, remember how she keeps delivering coffee to the one police officer that's there? So in order to make their story flow, they go, all right, so Lois delivers coffee to this guy, and that's why she's there at the park. Instead of in Josstice Cut, where Batman just like disappears and then reappears with her. So that is like logically within the story that's there to explain that like this is why she's in the area. But it is, you're right, like it's very oddly placed. I don't know where else you would put it, but yeah,
Nowhere.
it's one of those things
Delete
where,
it.
like, yeah, it's probably why they cut it. Yeah, it's one of those like, it's there to fill like a question, but it in actuality probably isn't needed.
I don't know, man.
Yes.
It literally it really like jarred that whole scene with the fucking mother box and like bringing Superman back. Like, it was like showing Cyborg explaining something about the mother box and like how this, I don't remember what he was explaining. And then out of nowhere, it just cut to her getting coffee and then just went back. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No,
Why?
it's weird. It's a bad cut.
But, I mean,
yeah. It was, yeah, like I get what they were doing, trying to show her why she's there when Superman comes back and stuff. But, like, it was so weird. Also, I think it's in both versions, isn't it, where she shows up, like Superman comes back. When he's brought back to like being his normal self, it's because Lois is there.
Mm-hmm.
And she says Clark, like in front of a bunch of people. And I'm like, so you just, what? You're just going to tell everybody who he is?
even though everybody should fucking know anyway. I mean,
I know. He put on glasses, he disappears.
Well, remember that,
Kent also
according to
died.
Batman v Superman, Clark is dead. So, I mean, it's just another random guy that is named Clark and looks exactly like that dude, I guess.
yes.
Superman's real name is Clark. It's fine. It's,
no, that's true. That is really funny. I actually didn't even catch that, but that's hilarious.
Yep. I was like, oh, jeez.
I just didn't think about the people around.
They really had to give Batman those energy gauntlets so he could just get blasted by Superman and not die.
Does explain. Like they explained that shit earlier in the movie.
Because of the guns.
It was another thing, and it's like it's something he uses against the Parademon, so it's like, all right, we make use of it there. But that was another like little bit that was cut out of like the Josstice League cut, and so like when he's doing that, like in that version, you're just like, I guess his metal can just deflect lasers.
Yeah, like I get
lasers.
being able to absorb like a Parademon shot, but Superman's beams are crazy.
That's probably you're right.
But
bit too much.
But that's a little nitpick that is dumb, but it just was weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I look too much into those things. Let's talk about Steppenwolf real quick.
Yeah, all right.
We haven't talked about him yet. I really like his new design.
Same.
I think it's leaps and bounds better than the weird PS2 graphics that he was in the last movie.
Yep.
He just looked like an old man.
He got upgraded to PS3 graphics this time.
He was just like an old angsty man in the last one.
Constantly
just beating up on women. But and his motivations were definitely better too, being like trying to get on Darkseid's good side.
Yeah, because he had like zero. He had like zero motivations in the Josstice League version.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
He was like, gonna get these mother boxes to destroy this planet for some reason.
Him wanting to turn the Earth into a toilet would have been a better fucking motivation than the last one.
I need to take a huge shit. I need to turn this Earth into a toilet. But he looked a lot better.
Yeah,
his action scenes were better.
Like people love him, and I think it's hysterical. It's so ironic because Warner Brothers made him change that design because they deemed it too scary, and the internet immediately fell in love with him, which is just the best thing in the world.
Too scary for who? The fucking 2-year-olds who shouldn't be watching the damn movie anyway? Like
they probably wanted to bring in more like children audience members and didn't want to scare them away.
It's too late for that. God damn it.
Yeah, like
even with Man of Steel, it was too late. It wasn't really for kids. Like
for sure.
Superman's breaking necks.
And like
breaking necks and cashing checks.
Look, there are definitely shots of Steppenwolf that still aren't great. Darkseid doesn't look all that great in the end shot. Like he looks pretty good in that opening bit with the battle, but like that end shot, he's looking a little rough next to Desaad. And like that's also something that I think is like maybe a lot of people don't understand, where it's like comparing like visual effects shots from different films and stuff, where it's like a lot of this has to do with time and budget. And like since this version sat in a can for 4 years, it didn't have any post-production work on it at all. So no special effects work was done at all. And so then he was given, basically a year and $70 million to finish it. And, he had to do what he could. So there are definitely some green screen shots and like a few digital character shots. Like, frankly, I'm shocked it looks as good as it does. Like Cyborg, they obviously made Cyborg a priority because he looks pretty good for the most part. I mean, it makes sense.
He puts on this mask a couple times for some reason for like a split second.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what the point of this is. But
it's cool, but what? I mean, you only get to see it for
but
1 second.
I like
the position of his arms. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
and they actually made it pretty useful. Yeah. So, but it's very interesting because like you almost can't compare to like Avengers where they had like so much more money and time to focus on the motion capture for Thanos.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think any of the special effects really looked bad in the movie. Like at least
they really weren't. They really weren't too bad compared to the. Again, and it's tough because, and I know I'm just gonna interject real quick. I watched a video of somebody comparing these two movies earlier, and he made a point that was like, would people be reacting as well as they are to the Snyder Cut if the Josstice League cut didn't exist?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because obviously you can compare something to shit and it looks better than shit if it's not shit. No, that's true. And it could still be shit. But
right now, pairing on Rotten Tomatoes, the Josstice League cut has a 40% critical analysis and a 71% audience approval rating. And
that's much higher than I thought it was.
Yeah, and the Snyder Cut, by comparison, has a 73% critical analysis and a 96% audience. I agree with you. I don't think it would be accepted as well. However, I think it would be in the middle. I think it would definitely would have done better than Josstice League. Sure. But it probably would not have been quite as revered as it is now because it's kind of this weird what if, and we're looking at it through this lens of like this is what could have been. Sure. So I like if Josstice League is 40% and this is 73, I think like if it came out, it'd probably get around the same critical as like Man of Steel, where it's like 55 to 65, like in that area.
Yeah, I could
like half people don't,
Yeah, and like I liked Steppenwolf for the most part. I liked the Amazonian fight more. That was even though there was still some weird stuff in there. Way too much slow motion shit in that scene. That
absolutely. That movie is 10% slow motion. That's 24 minutes of slow motion.
That's a lot.
That's too. It's too much. That's the thing is this is Snyder unfiltered. So with all the good that comes from that, you also get his bad tendencies, which is music video moments that like kind of sit like he likes to just sit on a character and then have a song that talks about like their mental state like playing. And like he does that a couple times and it's like, all right, like I get it. It comes with the territory, but like I would have cut that.
Like that scene with Aquaman walking out of the fucking bar with a fucking bottle of whiskey or whatever. Like,
it's like a 4-minute slow-mo scene of him just walking towards the water.
It's like, too long. Like it's a great shot with like the waves coming up, giving him that like Moses persona. Like I get it. Like that's a wonderful shot, but everything it's too much. It's too long.
Yeah, it goes on for way too long. But I thought the Amazonian stuff was still pretty. Yeah. It was better. I didn't really like it that much the first time. So it wasn't amazing.
All of the action sequences that were kept for the Josstice League, like I think the original version is much better. Snyder just has a way with his editing and his sound design and stuff that just like even some of the shots that are the same shot, like there's just something else about them. Snyder adds like a ferocity, like several of the shots during Wonder Woman's like opening bank sequence were definitely cut. Like she wrecks a few people in the beginning, and those were definitely like tame for the Josstice League cut. And same for Steppenwolf. Like all of Steppenwolf's stuff was neutered and tamed down.
Yeah, he's like cut people in half and stuff now.
Right? Yeah, and like that also I think is like very interesting to look at because. If you don't mind me segueing into talking about the aspect ratio, I think that's like an important element of this movie.
1 second before you go to that.
Yeah.
1 second. There's just one thing I want to bring up about the Amazonian scene that I want to get your take on.
Yeah.
Zach might know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly.
So apparently Amazonians get killed if a fucking horse falls on their legs and they can't move it, I guess. I thought they were supposed to be like strong. And I guess they just get killed by fucking a horse landing on its legs.
You don't know that they also made the Amazonian equivalent of a horse, so it's like double the weight.
I guess, but I think even regular people can survive a horse falling on their fucking legs. So me and Zach and Sean determined that Amazonians house all their organs in their big thick ass fucking thighs. I guess
right.
Their organs are just all in their ass and thighs. So
one scene earlier, these Amazonians are lifting these giant like cement pillars and like walls, holding them up, and then a horse falls on one. And she's like, "I'm done.
I can't do it. I'm fucking dead. I'm done for. I'm fucking done for."
See, clearly there are different weight classes for these Amazonians. You have,
I guess.
They're lifting the stones, and she's a lightweight, obviously.
She must be like a fucking featherweight. She couldn't even. Her plus one of the like. I guess it was Diana's mom. She couldn't even move the damn horse. Jeez.
I don't even think she tried. She got there and was like,
"You're right." She did. She was like, "You're fucking dead. I know it already."
So dead.
She's like, "Can you move this horse?" She's like, "I can't. I'm not gonna try. I can't."
Well, I mean, it's weird because I know. I mean, they're definitely. You have those ones holding the stones that are like clearly supposed to be super strong, but like Diana's stronger because she's half god.
Well, right. So I know that.
I don't know where the Amazons are supposed to lie on the strength scale.
What's the threshold? That's the threshold. Yeah. I mean,
I guess their strength is determined by the plot.
Yeah.
Yes, plot.
That's like with the whole like tying the box to the bow and arrow where they shoot it like 20 feet or whatever, and like in the next scene after he gets the box, they shoot this heavy ass fucking arrow like across the sea or some shit. I'm like, why did you just do that with the box? Just shoot it like across the planet.
When that happened, I was even laughing because I was just like, can you imagine like a plane flight? This is flight 275.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we just got punctured by a giant arrow.
Oh no. And then Diana gets it and knows what's going on. And then the next scene, she's just dropping into a cavern out of nowhere. Like it doesn't show her go to it.
She jumps up and then lands in a cavern.
Like for that one, I think like at least for me, it was like I know Diana, I know like as a character, I know she's got like all this kind of knowledge and stuff. To me, it made sense that she would see what kind of error that is and like know there was a purpose behind it. Like it is like a weird logic leap. But
I'm talking more about like just the weird like transition.
Oh,
she's just she's looking at the arrow and then she's kind of just dropping into a cavern.
You're right. Actually, that thank you for bringing that up because I personally have noticed this very odd trend in a lot of modern films, and that is the forgetting of the transition shot. A lot of films just really expect you to just like buy going from one thing to another without any kind of transition shot at all. And it's like it's everywhere. Like it's very odd. It's something I've noticed more prevalently in like the past 10 years in film.
Right? It's like if you don't want to waste time on showing me how she like travels and gets to this place, give me like a small montage. Something.
Yeah, something.
Like something small. Like, show me where this is. Showing her like the dumb like show me a map of like an arrow flying to this.
Yeah, pulling Indiana Jones.
Yeah, just something dumb or something like that. It's better than her just appearing in this random place.
I guess it was nearby. I don't know. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. It's like because we don't have a transition shot, we don't know where that place is located.
We have time to show show Lois Lane getting a cup of coffee. I can't show you how she gets to this game.
Well, clearly Amy Adams was being paid more.
Which seems weird.
No, she absolutely wasn't.
I was gonna say that doesn't seem right, but maybe.
Way too much money off of that movie.
But yeah, that was my main gripe with the Amazonian scene was the fucking horse killing the Amazonian. Which I guess they got to add the dramatics, but couldn't they just have had Steppenwolf like
stab her?
Do something that like cause her to like get it mortally injured? What fucking horse? Come on.
I did like the addition of them dropping the whole thing into the ocean, like the fucking.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah, and they had that 300 moment where she was like, "Show me your fear," and there's like,
"Show me your abs."
There you go.
They had a couple Lord of the Rings moments too, like whenever the fucking Amazonian like cavalry shows up over the hills, fucking Battle of Helm's Deep style over here.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the Lord of the Rings stuff, when it shows like the three factions, the humans, Atlanteans and stuff, getting rid of the boxes, and the humans bury it like 2 feet in the dirt. This is fine.
This is fine.
Yeah.
No one come over to this freshly unearthed bit right here. Like, don't look
this
there.
other box is in Atlantis, hidden somewhere in the ocean. This other one's on this invisible island. This 2-foot hole. That's fine.
Humans are, we're very
That's
smart.
True.
We're very smart.
That's true. That
Very
makes sense.
smart. Oh my god.
Oh, shit. But yeah, the aspect ratio. So this is something I don't know if you guys were aware of like why this was done, but like so you watch this movie and it's full frame, it's 4:3, and you're like, well, wait, like what? We're in this era of widescreen now, and like I understand people being a little confused about it. But like, so here's the thing is like when true IMAX is a gigantic 4:3 full frame image, and that is there to give you the largest image with the greatest amount of definition that you can get. So when movies are shot in IMAX and then released, when you watch a film in a theatrical IMAX, you're not actually watching true IMAX. They crop the top and bottom off. And that is so they can get the 16:9 or the 2.39:1 for anamorphic. They chop the tops and bottom off. So normally for like movies like Aquaman or like The Dark Knight or Life of Pi and stuff, where they change aspect ratio and they go from like the anamorphic and it opens up on your TV and the black bars go away for the like battle sequences and stuff. That's because like when they shot in IMAX, now they have like that extra image that they can take away, the black bars and show more. But still, because you're still cropping it because it's a giant 4:3, in order to get to 16:9, you still have to take the tops and bottoms off. When a filmmaker uses IMAX, they typically will just change how they frame something so that way it still works, when you take
when
the top.
It's cropped, right. Yeah.
But Zach's reasoning for keeping the image was like he was saying how like in a lot of modern superhero films we're looking up at these characters. They're very tall in the frame. We have that famous like it's in every single superhero movie where like the camera's like low and it's looking up at the hero like standing tall in their moment and stuff. And he was like, we see them very tall in the frame. Superman flies up into the sky. Batman is perched on a tall outcropping and jumps down onto the criminals and stuff, and how he just felt that getting that extra image height wise helped benefit the screen in how he wanted to shoot his superheroes. But by doing that, he did not frame his stuff in order to allow the cropping. So so in order to get the full image, you have to watch it in a full frame. So that's like fascinating when you compare it to Josstice League, because that means that anytime they took one of Zack Snyder's shots, they had to digitally like punch the image in and then move it around in order to get the right angle. And so if you go back and you rewatch that movie, it may be widescreen, but it is littered. Like there are no establishing shots of characters. It's all like close-ups because every shot was a medium that was then zoomed in digitally to make it widescreen. And it's like very odd because that makes it look much more amateurish because the frame is not built correctly because it was never supposed to be this image. And there are like techniques in filmmaking, things like the rule of 3 and giving characters headroom and things that, an audience member doesn't typically notice, but subconsciously we just like bring it in. And as long as you follow some of those rules, it just helps ease your viewing experience. Go back and rewatch Batman v Superman. You'll realize almost no characters have the top of their heads. It's because it was taken away. Like, it's so weird. So that actually changes the dynamic of action scenes. And you have Wonder Woman's action sequence and Steppenwolf's action sequence. And because we're not even given the full frame of the image, like, it just doesn't feel right and it loses that kinetic energy.
It's fair. That makes sense. I didn't really think about it that way. So if they had decided to cut the tops and bottoms, there would be scenes where like a weird portion of someone's head or something would be missing, and you just be like,
It's weird
because of the way it was shot.
odd.
Yeah, it is. But it was kind of weird at first when I watched it, but I kind of just stopped noticing it after a while.
Yeah, like you get used to it. It's whatever.
Darren also has a giant TV, so it didn't.
Yeah, we watched it on my 70-inch TV, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, of course, Snyder was expecting when this was filmed to be shown on the biggest screen possible, not your TV. So that it's unfortunate, but yeah.
It definitely helps being on a pretty big TV, so quite large.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because of the mainstreaming of widescreen, but just like something about I know you gave me all the technical jargon about why 4:3 in this case isn't as amateuristic looking as Joss Whedon's 16:9, but just the mainstreaming of widescreen just made it look fucking stupid.
Jarring.
It just made it look dumb. It made it look like I was watching. Made it look like I was watching a fucking haggard MP4 from fucking 480p. CKY fucking one.
You're watching a sitcom from
DVD rip or some shit. Yeah, watching fucking Frasier or some bullshit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and that is a fair argument because, you have the argument of, but the mainstream culture is widescreen now. So take advantage of filling that whole screen, not full frame, full screen, Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but at the end of the day, just because I get it doesn't mean I have to like it.
No, that's absolutely fair.
But honestly, though, the 4:3 is probably one of my least issues with that movie. It really wasn't that. I can deal with it. Obviously, I used to. Growing up, all we had were CRT 4:3 TVs. I mean, half my life I spent watching 4:3, fucking PBS and all that bullshit. So,
hey man, if we want to feel old, there's people right now watching this movie who probably never experienced that. Never had to experience.
They're like, what the fuck is this nonsense? The only time I fucking see this shit is when I'm going by fucking Golden Girls playing on fucking ABC Family on my widescreen TV. It shows up 4:3 aspect ratio. But, yeah, no, I get it. It makes sense, but at the same time, it's like if this would have come out mainstream, would he not have had to shoot it in a way to rectify getting it to widescreen, or was it just always going to come out in only 4:3?
See, no, that's a fair question. I have.
They were going to release it on Blu-ray and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he would have forced him or not. That may have been one of the things that did come with the creative freedom that they gave him this time.
Sure, right. Where he got to just do 4:3. Because I can imagine if it was going to be mainstream, more mainstream anyway. This is still pretty mainstream because of all the hype. But if it would have come out in theaters, I'm sure he would have had to, shoot it in a way that he could put it into widescreen. Because you're not going to go to a normal theater and watch a 4:3 fucking movie in a regular theater. You know what I mean? That would be horrible for me. That'd be horrible.
That's a fair question. I don't know what his plan was originally. I mean, obviously he did shoot it all in IMAX, so
sure, right?
Maybe he wouldn't have. I'm not sure.
Fucking renegade over here, Maverick. Zack Snyder, the Maverick. He does look like he's that kind of fucking weird, fucking edgy cowboy motherfucker. He just looks like that.
Yeah,
that's fair. Now, I want to talk about the beginning Wonder Woman scene.
Okay, yeah.
That's in this movie. It's largely the same as the original, except they did make Wonder Woman seem more powerful in this scene, but almost I feel to a detriment, in my opinion, because I feel like she's fast enough to block all of these bullets that this guy's shooting at her. When she could have stopped so much of that shit from happening with her speed. He shouldn't have even been able to pull that trigger. I know that it needs to be dramatic.
He shouldn't have even been able to get in that goddamn building.
Yeah, they show her standing up on this building when they're walking in, killing people. Why are you standing on this building? Just go in. You're clearly able to do that.
What the hell are you doing? He kills a security guard before they even go in the building, and she's just like, I'm just gonna fucking stand up here, I guess, until shit really hits the fan.
And if she just showed up then when they showed her, I get that, but I feel again, with as long as this movie is, they should have had a scene before that of her maybe hearing it or something like that. Her not being that close the whole time.
Yeah, that's fair.
It felt strange.
I think
in both versions.
I think it was supposed to imply that she just got there, but like I'll have to watch that again because that's really funny. I'll have to see how it's edited.
Let me get this implication straight real quick. She just arrives on scene, and her first thought is to fucking jump on top of a fucking building and stand there. Like,
gotta get that vantage point, bro.
She said, all right, I gotta go help these people, but first, let me jump on top of this fucking building.
The vantage point doesn't help because she's on top of the building that they are in. So she's looking straight down at nothing, is what she's looking down at. It doesn't make sense. Like, I get that they wanted that cool shot of her standing on the arm of that statue or whatever.
See, I just assumed it was the building next to them. I just assumed it was the neighboring building, but if it is
the same building. From what I can remember, that's why it annoyed me so much because she's on the same building. I was like, why are you just go in now? Like,
you want to talk about the whole logical fallacy in their plan?
Yes.
Also,
this is the biggest problem I think we had in this when we watched this movie is Darkseid's whole plan.
No, not this. Not this plan. The logical fallacy with the dudes that were blowing up the building.
Okay. Sorry, I'm jumping too far ahead.
No, that's all right.
But yeah, the whole we're gonna send the world back to the Stone Age by blowing up like 4 blocks. Like what? Nukes
in what world
on the planet and didn't do that, and they blow up like miles of. Like,
we're gonna take it back to the Stone Age. We're gonna blow up these 4 city blocks.
If this is like one splinter unit of a greater like terroristic group, like while they're fighting Steppenwolf, are these guys blowing up major cities like in the background?
right? Like, and when she stopped one.
Yeah, when she stopped the one, it would have made more sense if, like, she throws a thing in the air and it blows up, and then she's like, I saved her one, and then you hear like other explosions like happening around the city or something, and you're like, oh shit, something bigger's happening. But no, she just nothing happens after that about it.
Look, it was Bill's idea, and like I like Bill, but Bill's not the smartest guy. But I'm intimidated by Bill, so I don't want to tell him that his plan isn't that smart. Right? Jerry? Could you tell him? Oh, you're going to tell me either? Okay. Well,
Bill's kind of a psycho. I don't want to tell him anything. But,
I don't want to tell him that blowing up 4 city blocks is going to take anything back to the Stone Age.
Also,
Bill's been depressed for a while. I think this is just how he wants to go.
He needs this W. When
we watched the original Justice League and that happened, she throws it up in the air and it goes like 20 feet and blows up. And I'm like, that definitely wasn't an explosion that was going to take 20. This is going to take 4 city blocks. And then in this one, I will give them credit because she jumps in the air and then throws it higher than the other one. But it's still like, it's not 4 city blocks high. Like, it's not. It does nothing.
I think they got a bad dynamite guy.
They must have.
And then she kills all the dudes and then just incinerates the dude or whatever. I'm just like, that seemed a little extreme, but
yeah, it's okay. Whole thing. Look, I'm protecting the people, but like, I genuinely don't give a shit about the bank.
And the little girl's like, I want to be just like you, and she should have been like, I'm half a god. You can't.
You can't.
You can't be. You can't be.
Follow your dreams, except being a superhero. But yeah, that scene as well.
That part was pretty bad. But I mean, I guess since I. No, go ahead. No, you go ahead because you're still talking about the scene. I was going to transition.
Well, I was just going to say it's definitely one of those like it strongly just hinges on like comic book goodness. Like, you know what I mean? It's an illogical, like, just go for it, like, scene. And, like, I enjoy the scene, but part of why I enjoy it is because of how outrageous it is, which probably doesn't, like, speak to the scene being good, but it just, like, it's part of my enjoyment is, like, laughing at how outrageous it is.
It's goofy and hammy, which is okay, but, like, the thing about that, it being that way in this movie is it kind of doesn't fit. Like that fit in the Josh Whedon version, but what they're going for in this movie, it felt out of place.
It is a bit over the top. There were a few moments where I think Snyder, I mean, because he got flack for Batman v Superman being so dark, I think there are definitely a few moments where like he's trying a little bit too hard to like try and lighten the mood kind of thing, or make it like a little more comic booky, and that's for sure an issue with the film. There are a couple moments like that where it's just like a little bit too goofy. So yeah, no, I agree.
It happens, but Is what it is. Now,
Mhm.
where were you going to transition to, Darren? Were you going
I
to
was
do what
gonna
I
say
was saying?
since we brought it up, I don't know if we want to transition to like
Yeah, let's get to the dark side of this.
the biggest plot hole I think
Dark
I've
side.
ever
Yep.
seen in my life.
Yep.
But
This
I
is
mean,
oh god. So Darkseid shows up on Earth, whatever 1,000 years ago,
Yep.
and loses to a guy with an axe.
Yeah, Ares,
Uh,
God of War. Give him some
nope.
credit.
It was not. It was a human who hit him with an
No, it
axe.
wasn't. That was Ares. That was Ares.
I don't
Digitally
think it
put.
was.
What's his name? Oh.
No, man, it was
Guy-
not
the guy
Ares.
Plays.
It wasn't.
I'm for real
Dude,
right now. It's
it was a
called-
guy wearing a helmet and like fur. Ares. It
Yeah.
was not Ares.
Yep, and they digitally replaced his face.
Wasn't Ares the shirtless guy with the big fucking arms?
Nope, that's Zeus. Lightning.
That was supposed to be. That was
Giveaway.
Zeus.
Lightning's the
Oh,
giveaway.
okay.
it's
Lightning.
weird though because the gods that they did show in that all had like red like powered up arms. They had like energy in their arms.
Yeah.
And the guy with the axe didn't, so it seemed really weird. But
Yeah.
so it
Seemed
just
like a
seemed like a
human to me.
human man just like fucking up Darkseid. I'm like, all right. But
It is supposed to be Ares at least.
the little
Well, at
Green
least we
Lantern
cleared
thing was
that up.
interesting. Yeah. It makes a little more sense then. But the rest of it
That
doesn't
part makes a
because
little bit more sense, but that's
he
not
hits
the
the
most
ground.
egregious part.
all right, so he hits the ground and finds the anti-life equation.
Oh,
Right?
so wait. So does he find it, or does he like create it there? Is what I want to know.
He finds it.
He finds it, okay.
It's
on
into the
Into the
Earth itself.
Okay, gotcha.
He finds it, and then
Mhm.
he gets beaten,
Yep.
and then forgets what Earth is, where Earth is.
Right. So no, it's fair. Now there's one word that they keep using that I guess stretching could answer that. And that is they specifically say he's not from a new planet. He's from a different dimension, which would implicate a multiverse. So it's possible that he knew it was on Earth but didn't know which Earth. Because I think the implication is that technically they use the mother boxes as their like GPS. The mother boxes go silent, and one wakes up and immediately calls to Steppenwolf. And no one knew what was going on planet Earth until they made their call. So I think it's supposed to be that's like their GPS. However, I'm wondering why he didn't just like pin it on a map.
Yeah,
You know? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's definitely
Write down the
nothing-
coordinates.
yeah.
really,
I have
nothing
a
up to
feeling
that point.
That was probably something that was going to be answered in a sequel. But I mean, that as of right now, I got no good answers on that one.
Because even up to that point, even if it is a multiverse thing, like they don't really do anything with that.
Yeah,
or like
it's just
bring it up in any real way.
But even
And
so, like
again, like he leaves. He knows it's there when he's there. He knows what it is, what he found. But
Mhm.
he's leaving. His ships can't take a picture. They can't like pin the planet he's on. He destroys 100,000 planets, and he's like, "Where the fuck is Earth? Like, where? Like, it's
Yeah.
so the one, and it's safe to assume that that's the one planet he lost on.
Yes.
You feel like that would be something he would stick in his mind. Like,
Yes.
this planet is fucked. I'm coming
mean,
back here at some point.
if
Yeah,
you
no,
can-
I agree. I mean, I guess it's just kind of like, well, maybe like he burned those 100,000 worlds in his attempts to find it again. But yeah, how did he lose it in the first place?
right.
Yeah.
They leave via their ships. They leave so hastily that they forget their mother boxes. If the mother box is like a GPS, like cool, that means it's going to be harder to find it. But like, yeah, I agree. It definitely is a question
Yeah.
that should have been answered. Again, I'm fairly certain it would have been answered, but like, who knows?
like
Again,
if
you
you-
have a 4-hour movie. Answer this question at least.
if you got ships that can interdimensionally travel, they should be able to like tell you what dimension you're in and fucking like plot that down
Yeah, it's
somewhere.
gotta
I have a
Like,
GPS on my phone that can tell me where I was.
Exactly.
And
I feel
I'm a-
like
and I'm a
you could do
primitive
that.
human being. So.
Yeah. I suck, and I can do
But
that.
yeah, I don't know.
Zach, answer our questions.
I don't know what it is about that plot hole, but it just really pissed me off because it was like,
Yeah.
well, because
It just
for me, the whole thing with this movie was like, motivations are fixed for everybody, and I was like, are they though? Like, I mean, what? First of all, they didn't explain what Steppenwolf did, to my knowledge, to betray Darkseid in the first place. So,
Oh, we don't
Yeah,
know
they-
what he did. All we know is he betrayed him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all they say. It's
so
like I need to
like,
get back his good graces, and the sad is like, I'm gonna, you betrayed
Well,
us.
I mean, it's interesting because with a villain, like, you need to give him enough motivation, but not, and like, it's odd. I think he's definitely better written. He's not the best written villain, but he's still better. Like, I honestly think this version is better written than maybe a third of the Marvel villains. He's better written than Malekith and Adrian and Whiplash and like the guy from Captain Marvel and stuff.
But
like,
the thing about those villains is those movies that you just mentioned are like the bottom 3 of the Marvel movies.
Oh no, no lie. Marvel. I mean, all the Captain America films have better villains. Thor 3 had a better villain. You're never gonna beat Loki. He's like fantastic. But like, I mean, he's just like, he's more of like a middle ground villain. Like, he's better than he was, absolutely. I do find it funny how people are identifying with him like that much. Because I'm just like, it's cool, weird. Yeah, no, like, it works. It's good. It's good for his character. But we also don't like need to go any more into there. So people just like being like, oh my God, this poor soul. I'm just like, he's still trying to kill you all. Like,
so it was so weird that he just like fingered that mother box and was like, oh shit, the anti-life equation's here.
Oh yeah, it tells him. Yeah, it tells him that what they found.
Yeah. He was like, I was looking for a different kind of fun, but all right. Mother box.
Also, and again, this is probably something they were gonna do with the sequels or whatever, but it was really weird that Desaad was there and Granny Goodness was in this movie, but they did nothing with them.
Like, oh well, yeah. Like, Desaad is definitely an intermediary. He's like that Lee Chitauri in the first Avengers, where he's just kind of there to like be the go-between guy. Yeah. And I mean, clearly, Granny Goodness was just there as like set dressing, just to be like, oh look, there she is, like part of the Armada. Like, I get it, she would be there as part of the Armada, but yes, like, we don't do anything with her. Yeah, I mean. Just kind of like.
Also, you think the mother boxes would be important enough that Darkseid would just come himself to get them, with as powerful as he is?
It's true.
And he knows that the Kryptonian is dead, I assume.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna come fuck up these guys.
You can't find it, apparently.
He said, "Send me your location, Steppenwolf." And he said, "I don't fucking know how. I don't know what this technology."
We don't have this kind of technology, all right. I'm surrounded by all these primitive humans. Okay, I'm using an axe for some reason. So. But yeah, so that part, I don't know, because because Zach mentioned that scene where he fingers the mother box for whatever the fuck pleasure he was trying to get out of that, and he somehow finds the he gets teleported to the anti-life equation scene, and we were all just really confused. We're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like,
I saw it as a vision. I don't think he was physically teleported there.
Well, no, I mean I get that, but like because in my mind, like, this anti-life equation is so important. Like, they're showing it again, and he's like saying it's here, and I was like, what does he mean it's here? Is he talking about the mother box? He already knows that. Is he talking about this equation? Because Darkseid should already know that. So what is happening here? Mm-hmm. And then like they do explain it, which is nice that they explain that. Like, he's like, I found the anti-life equation. But then actually him explaining it made me more mad, because I was like, Darkseid just forgot it was here.
Yeah, how'd you lose it?
What?
No, yeah, it's that is a gaping plot hole. It's like Zack Snyder, if you're listening to our wonderful podcast, and you do get the opportunity to make Justice League 2, answer why the fuck he doesn't know where it is anymore.
Please.
Like, say he fell down the stairs and got amnesia. Like, that's enough. I don't care.
Or something. I mean,
like that.
The thing is, that's like, in all honesty, that isn't the hardest thing to explain either. Like, it's a comic book movie. Have his memory wiped. Have him, like, you could literally answer it in any way. Like,
bro, you could tell me that, like I said on fucking Facebook, you could tell me that Steppenwolf his betrayal was deleting fucking Darkseid's Google Maps history.
Right.
That would be enough for me. Something. Right. Just tell me why this powerful being forgot where his all-powerful equation was. Just tell me something.
It was just supposed to be a joke, and then Darkseid took it a little too seriously. Get out.
Kicked him out. Oh, man.
Now you can't even come home, motherfucker, because you deleted my fucking search history. Had very important notes in there about the anti-life equation, man.
Put a big note next to that Earth. Be like, important, do not lose.
Yeah, doesn't he have like some kind of giant sticky note he can just stamp to the earth or something? God.
And I also,
Jeez.
with the dark side stuff, like he looked good. I thought he looked good the whole time. The scenes with him doing stuff was cool. I was a little disappointed they only showed him use his
Omega beams.
Omega beams, yeah, like once.
Yes, I agree. I was a little disappointed with that as well.
To kill like one piddly fucking
Volko,
Atlantean.
Yeah, the Atlantean dude. But also, speaking of the Atlanteans, they gave oh God, I remember her name, Amber Heard's character.
Yeah.
They gave her the ability to fucking like blood bend and like pull the blood out of
water ketosis. She can do that in Aquaman as well.
Yeah, and it makes sense. She should have just done that. She should have just killed him with that.
I mean, clearly they have her side, but in order to make it dramatic, we gotta, Yeah. But yeah, I actually really liked that addition. I thought that was a badass.
That surprised me. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, that's kind of.
Yeah, when I saw the blood coming out of his fucking face, I was like, all right, that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But fuck Amber Heard, so fuck Amber Heard.
True. It's very odd watching this also because like you see what like maybe the original intent for Aquaman was, where like Amber Heard has this like accent and she's supposed to be much more regal than they make Mera in Aquaman. The Atlanteans have like their own language where they're talking like almost like dolphins and whales and stuff. And it's like, it's this weird, like, this is what they were going to go with. And then, like, they change stuff. Like, there's even a weird continuity error, which, again, if they want to include this into all the things, it's a very easy thing to fix. But in Josstice League, she says, my mother and father, my parents fought in the war. And then, obviously, her dad is Dolph Lundgren in Aquaman. But in Snyder's Cut, she says, my parents died in the war. And so, like, that just points to, like, maybe originally in, like, the first Aquaman script, like, she didn't have a father and stuff, and then they just changed. Like, it's a very interesting, like, little thing to watch is, like, this weird, different take on the character. But, yeah, fuck Amber Heard. I think Emilia Clarke is a best replacement. She has much better chemistry with Jason Momoa anyways. She's a better actress and she's like a better person. So
yeah, definitely. I think they should,
at least as far as we know.
They should have just deep faked Willem Dafoe's face onto Amber Heard and just made it that much better.
If they did that,
not enough Willem Dafoe in that
10 out of 10. Like,
right. And they should have deep faked Emilia Clarke onto Willem Dafoe's character for some reason.
I'd take it.
Yeah, so yeah, the dark side thing kind of ruined the whole movie for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It really made me angry. And again, it could be because I went into it the opposite of you, Brett, because you went in with the rose-colored glasses. I think me, Sean, and Zach kind of went in with the fucking shit-colored glasses. Yeah. So like I think everybody, probably most of the people who watch this movie who like, because I would imagine most people who cared to watch it even a little bit probably watched the original and was going into it either from your perspective where, you know, it's a win for the, you know, directors versus the studios, the fans versus studios. And then there were people like me and Zach and Sean who are relatively serious about film, but not that serious to where we were like, all right, the first one sucked, so there's no possible way that this one could be that much better, which this one, again, I've said it is better, but how much better? To me, not that much better. So,
but I think it's also, like you brought up, it's definitely perspective. You know, with watching it with rose-colored glasses, you really only focus on the good. With watching it in shit-colored glasses, you only focus on the bad. But I think, like, just, like, kind of through talking and stuff, it's like, it's probably, in actuality, it's probably somewhere in the middle. Like, it's definitely not a great, like, perfect film, but it's probably not, like, terrible either. It's just, you know, like, it's a typical, like, decent enough, like, comic book movie if you, like, really want to, you know.
I think I could concede and agree there. I think, for me, another aspect of it would be if they could have cut an hour out of the movie, I think it would have been better. If they could have just cut like an hour out of the movie somehow.
And that's fair, but like that's a very interesting element where it's like that is something to look at where it's like, okay, yes, you could have, but like essentially the whole reason we're even getting this was because it was like a cry for like no studio interference.
Sure.
So it's this weird, like you do get too much, but like, you know, if I have to trade off Barry saying Dostoevsky in order to watch
That's
like
pretty fucking bad.
fucking Dark Side. Like, I'll take it, you know.
That's fair.
Yo.
Yo, what up?
Yeah, what up?
Had to get some fucking food in my stomach.
You're good, dude. I had some pizza before this, so.
I literally was just eating a spoonful of peanut butter and some chocolate chips. That was my fucking idea of food.
Get them gains, get that protein, boy.
That's right, son.
I mean, you gotta be able to lift the whole damn
Whole damn what?
whole damn world.
I'm trying, man. Really
You
trying.
trying to be Atlas here, man?
I'm really trying, dude. I'm fucking.
Do you want to go into that like competitively?
Oh no, not at all. I'm pretty strong. I probably could, but I'd have to like hire a coach and shit if I really wanted to do well, and I just don't feel like doing that. So.
You just want to be strong AF.
That's right. I want to be strong and big. Scare all the fucking ladies away. That's all there is to it. Scare all the ladies away. That's all happens.
I mean, that way we can it's just the boys.
Fucking Thursdays for the boys.
Thursday is for the boys. Hey, you like getting your cock punched there, Zach?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, can't hear you. Oh.
I said yes, sir.
There it is.
Yes, I can't wait for The Boys season 3.
Oh, it's gonna be so brutal.
Oh, I love it.
I am a little bummed that Aya Cash isn't gonna be in it, but we are getting Jensen Ackles, and that's gonna be
true.
nuts.
Who's not gonna be in it?
The Nazi chick.
Yeah.
Oh, well, she's fucking dead.
She got fucked, yeah.
She's still alive. She's just
okay.
like in intensive care or whatever.
She's basically
She's not doing anything for a long time.
I thought that that was the actress who plays the other fucking girl, Starlight or whatever the fuck her name is.
No.
She's hot as fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope she's still in that fucking show. She's so.
Have you guys
hot.
watched You're the Worst?
No. I've heard it's really good, though. I have not watched
That's where the
it.
girl,
Aya Cash.
the Nazi chick, is from. Yeah, that's where I first saw her, and she's so good in that show. And you see a lot of her in that show. And
Nice.
it's just a really good, well-written show, though. I mean, all kidding aside, it's like this really great look at like fucked up relationships in hilarious fashion. It's just,
Yeah, nice.
it's almost like It's Always Sunny in that you're watching these terrible people make terrible decisions, kind of thing.
Very
And
nice.
it's funny to watch them, suffer.
Fair enough. All right. With the Justice League, I guess what would be both of y'all's overall thoughts on the movie?
Well, how about this? How about Brett goes last? Because I feel like mine and your thoughts will be shorter than his.
That's
So, okay. So I'll start because mine might even be shorter than Zach's. I don't know. But
we'll see.
so largely for me, and I know like Brett thinks this is egregious, not egregious, but just like, doesn't think it's accurate. And I'm sure a lot of people who may listen to this might think it's accurate. But to me, I largely viewed the Snyder Cut as largely, and when I say that, I mean, like, I know that there were, cuts made and, bad parts were cut out. But like when you say parts, we say parts. They were like couple second, maybe a couple minute parts were cut out. So when I say I think it's largely the same movie, I mean that like, sure, a lot of the bad stuff that was in the Josstice League cut were removed. At the end of the day, the plot was, largely the same, aside from a few motivations, which I get that's a big part. But they replaced better motivations with a huge plot hole that really, grinded my gears, as people have seen. So I think a lot of the negatives that came with the Snyder Cut kind of balanced out the bad stuff they removed from the Justice League cut. And, they did make some improvements to the character arcs, like Cyborg, and like a third of Barry Allen. He was still kind of a bumbling idiot, which I didn't really like. But he did have his redemption at the end, which we didn't really cover. I'm sure we will get to it at some point, because we largely agreed, Sean, Zach, and I largely agreed that the climax of the movie was way better. Admittedly, I will say that the climax was way better.
Yeah.
But the good things that this movie brought, in my opinion, didn't outweigh the bad things, and didn't even equalize them. It still ended up being a 4-hour-long movie that didn't really make all that much sense at times. And there were some cool shots, I can concede that as well. I wouldn't say that this was like a 3 out of 5, kind of like Sean said. The Josstice League cut was like a 3 out of 5. This one was more like a 5 out of 5. So it wasn't like complete dog shit. A lot of the, me saying it's a terrible movie, a lot of it's just being over dramatic, trying to be funny, a little bit of being edgy, you know us. We're all kind of edgelords, have been edgelords since we were in fucking high school.
Yeah,
it doesn't really go away as much as you try. It still sticks with you.
It's true.
So
that's why
it was.
You just get better at hiding it.
Exactly. You're more responsible with it instead of dropping N-bombs all the time back in the day, because we watched Dave Chappelle all the time, and
Yep.
Oh, so. Dave.
You grow up and you learn that you can't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
It's called growth, people. It happens. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was like a 5 out of 10. So it wasn't like a complete, crapshoot of a movie.
Right.
I would like to watch it again, which is why one of the main gripes I have is that it's 4 hours long, because I would like to watch it again. And I don't necessarily want to have to watch it in an episodic manner either. I'd like to be able to sit down and watch it, and maybe I will be able to. I don't know. It's very possible, because I kind of do want to revisit Batman versus Superman. Brett, I know that you kind of revere the Ultimate Cut, and I know that's on HBO Max, and I've never seen it. So I'd be willing to give it another chance, because I do like Ben Affleck's Batman. He's like one of the main redeeming factors for me in like all of these DC movies. Is I really actually like his Batman, minus the little bit of overuse of him using guns and stuff. That part I don't really like so much.
He does use a lot of guns.
But Ben Affleck as Batman, just like in general, I like. He has, I think his image is cool. He looks, he's a grizzled.
Batman.
He's grizzled. He's a fucking nice, thick boy Batman.
It's like with his Batman, you feel that the power comes from him and not his suit. Like you feel like he didn't have the suit on, he would still whoop your ass.
He looks like he packs a punch, right? Yeah. So overall, I would give this movie a 5 out of 10. It had some major improvements, but I think it also had some major detriments. I don't think that Zack Snyder is the best writer. So, and I don't know how much of this he wrote himself, if he had, obviously other people contributing or not. I don't really know how that stuff works, if he wrote it all himself or if he had interns helping or what.
Chris Terrio was the screenwriter. He co-wrote Batman v Superman along with David S. Goyer, who wrote Man of Steel. Sorry, excuse me. I feel like Snyder he definitely had story input and character input, but I feel like when it came to the actual dialogue and stuff, it was probably Chris, and then Snyder would obviously okay it or say yay or nay or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, but so yeah, I mean, for me the writing wasn't spectacular, but again, I'm just maybe an above average film viewer, so I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to screenwriting. I just know what I like and what I don't like. Maybe the writing's amazing, and maybe it's to the T textbook, film school good writing, and I just don't like it, So, but yeah, overall 5 out of 10. What's that?
It's pretty good. I think I would say it's pretty good. I don't think the writing's genius. It's no Scorsese film. We're not watching Tarantino here. But I think when it comes to just the genre of a superhero movie, it could be a lot worse kind of thing. That's kind of how
I could agree with that. So yeah, my final judgment, 5 out of 10. Could be better, could be worse. It is better than the Josstice League cut. That's for sure. Joss Whedon can get fucked.
That's fair. when it comes to me in this movie, I can't help but compare it to other superhero movies, especially being someone who's really big into like Marvel and like the DC stuff as the comic books.
And we're kind of in that
And this-
space where you can't help it because there's just so many now.
Yeah.
So
Especially with Marvel being just fucking so many movies.
Oh yeah, they're done.
And
there's
I
so
get
what they do.
Yeah, so I completely understand why obviously they would want to get into that hype of the Marvel movies and try to change it in the first place with the Justice League and stuff, which obviously failed pretty badly.
Yeah.
The Justice League was pretty terrible, and that is because these characters in the comics and just the way they are in general are a lot different than the Marvel characters.
Yeah, for sure.
They are in general like edgier and darker and stuff like that for the most part. Flash is
Marvel is like
different.
Yeah, Flash is one of the few that like really has a sense of humor, and like it's like I think a really good comparison is like Marvel is done these amazing like action comedies.
Yeah.
Like when you boil it down, like they're action comedies with a lot of heart. And that's wonderful. And like I think it's smart of DC to try and go like a different route and like focus on like the mythology and like the epic world building of it. They probably just haven't like quite figured it out.
Yeah, but a big problem with that is because Marvel did this so well because they gave all the characters time. They gave all the characters their own movies. They gave you a reason to care about them. And I feel like Justice League came way too fast.
Flash doesn't even have his own movie yet.
Yeah, Flash didn't have his own movie.
True. Yeah.
Avengers came out and they were like, "This has made a butt fuck amount of money. We need to do this for ourselves."
Yeah.
And I think that was a really bad decision.
Yeah.
I think Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel. I know a lot of people don't. I think it's a pretty decent movie, especially for a Superman movie. Who I generally don't like Superman that much because I think it's really hard to write a good story with him.
Yeah.
But that has been done. Like Red Sun is a really good story.
Yes. Oh, that's an excellent Superman story. Yeah.
And there's
Superman is another great one.
Yeah, there are good Superman stories. It's just hard to do with how powerful he is because it's hard to find something that is going to matter to him.
Yeah.
But when I compare this movie to the Justice League, it's definitely better. They give the characters a lot more time to shine.
Yeah.
It makes you care about them more. But kind of like what Darren said, the plot feels, even though there are a lot of difference, the plot still feels like it hits a lot of the same track, which is understandable. Like obviously they're both going to be feeding off the same general plot synopsis, but it just Sean said this when we were watching it, and I completely agree that they get really close to doing really cool stuff, and then right at the end they always seem to fuck it up. Like I was saying earlier with the Flash, that scene where he stops all the rocks, like that was a really cool scene, like just visually and what he was doing. But then for some reason they couldn't just give it to him.
Right.
Like they had to have Cyborg come out and save the people too, and make Flash look like he for some reason can't stop all the rocks, even though he has fucking super speed. Like what is, like it makes his power. It makes it seem like he doesn't know how to use his power, even though he's been shown that he can. Like he's been doing other stuff, and I did really like that Superman is not the Deus Ex Machina that he was before. He shows up, beats up Steppenwolf, he like cuts off the part of his head and stuff, which was cool. But in the end, they end up losing anyway until the Flash does his time travel stuff. And the ending, like Darren said, I think is a lot better. I actually went back on YouTube and rewatched that end scene because I really.
Oh, it's fantastic! It's so good. I genuinely think that moment is like among the top 10 like most epic like superhero moments we've had in film.
It is really good. It is probably the best moment DC's made so far in all their movies, in my opinion. I think.
Are you talking about Are you talking about the scene with the Flash? Yeah.
Yeah, where he goes back.
He runs time in reverse. Like it's epic.
It's really good. And I really like this scene with him like charging up the run too, like the whole time where he's just circling and the one guy's trying to shoot him the whole time. But I feel like the rest of the movie had just a lot of the same problems that the original did. Like they had scenes were changed, things were added with Darkseid and stuff, but it still kind of fumbled a lot, which obviously no movie's going to be perfect. But again, I have to kind of compare it to the other superhero movies that have been done so well.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Marvel does a lot of the action comedies, but they still really know how to handle those like really serious moments.
Yeah, I mean,
too.
fucking
Like
Guardians of the
Civil War
Galaxy.
is
Guardians of the
crazy.
Galaxy started with fucking Peter Quill's mom fucking dying.
Oh,
Hello?
it's so
That's
good.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, that is, in my opinion, one of the best scenes in the entire MCU, and it's such a powerful way to start your film. And yeah, I think agreed.
Yeah, and that they build on that too with the Guardians too, where like that moment when you find out that Ego is the reason she got cancer, like he gave it to her, like that still hits me every time that happens. I'm like, oh
great.
shit.
His reaction
like
is
that.
perfect.
Yeah. He just immediately just fucking shoots him. He's just like, oh god.
Like it's so good.
I just rewatched that movie. I hadn't seen that movie since like it came out in theaters.
And the way that movie uses the song "The Chain," like it gives me chills. Yeah. It's so good.
The soundtrack in Guardians 1 and 2 are just amazing. But Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one's the first like movie soundtrack I've ever bought, even though it's like a compilation of actual songs.
Yo, James Gunn is so good, and he's why I'm so excited for the new Suicide Squad, because it's just gonna be bonkers. Like I'm really excited for that.
Right, but yeah, I would have given the Josstice League like probably like a 2 out of 10. Like I legitimately did not enjoy watching that movie. Yeah, when I watched it initially. I would say the Snyder Cut is pretty significantly better, at least to me. Just because of the scenes that they did add, I think, were generally and genuinely much better than what was in Justice League. So I would have moved it from like a 2 to like a 6, which is still good. It's still a little better than like middle of the road to me.
Yeah.
Because again, like I even went back and watched a scene, which I've never done with the Justice League.
You're right.
Like I've never tried to rewatch that except.
You didn't go back and watch him fucking say Dostoevsky, dude? What the fuck's wrong with you?
That's the highlight of the movie,
right? So yeah, I think it is. I think if you watch the Justice League and you like the DC stuff, you should watch this. I think this is worth watching, if not to just see what the hype is about, if anything else, and give your own opinions on it. And it's much better to watch with friends.
Yes.
Right? To sit through with a 4 hour long movie, even if it's just to roast it for the most part, like we did.
I mean, I said, even though I enjoyed the film a lot, even I was cracking jokes at times. Like it's just a fun movie. It's goofy at times. It doesn't make sense. Certainly make fun of it. I mean, if that's part of the enjoyment, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so that would be my stance on it. I think it's definitely way better than the Snyder, better than the Joss Whedon version. I think it's worth at least giving a watch, even if it is in the segments, because I know a lot of people can't sit through a 4 hour. But yeah, that's my feeling on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a fellow, aspiring screenwriter and filmmaker, I believe if you've read my review on Holy Goof, you'll see I hated Josstice League. I gave it like a 2.5 out of 10. Like it was real bad. It hurt me. It was offensive to me because of like the way it was put together.
Egregious.
Like, I mean, like in a small way, being a little dramatic for sure, but like it really, as a person who has stories they love to tell and understands that the integrity of that story is important, like it really genuinely hurt. Also because like I love Justice League. The Justice League cartoon is one of my favorites. It was one of my favorites growing up, and rewatching it, it's still super good. The animated series and Justice League version of Superman, I think, is like the best iteration of Superman, because he keeps those values, but they didn't make him overpowered. Like he was perfect. And like I genuinely wanted a good Justice League movie, and it like shat in my face, and it like hurt me. I didn't like. What's really funny is I did not own that movie at all until I confirmed that Snyder's Cut was getting a physical like DVD release, because then I was like, all right, so I have to own both versions simply so I can compare and like basically watch how never ever to make a movie kind of thing. And so going from that point of view into Snyder's Cut, like simply the coherency is like I'm very pleased with. Not to mention the fact that now I genuinely care about Cyborg as a character, and that made me really happy. And it's sad that saying I want to care about a character is asking too much sometimes. And like, so Cyborg's additions alone I thought were just wonderful. Like I said earlier, that scene where he gives the single mom money was like probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. It just had a lot of heart behind it. I also really liked the additions with Flash, other than those stupid opening lines. I think he was handled just so much better. Still, yeah, the kid of the group, still not perfect, but far closer to a better adaptation of one of my favorite DC characters. And like a lot of this, it just extends to how the story's told. I think this is a really good example of like how the journey can be more important than the destination, because like you guys said, the basic plot points are the same. Like for the most part, other than like Cyborg, everyone ends in the same spot too. Obviously Cyborg's is very different because like his father's dead and there's like that whole thing. But like everyone else does end up in the same spots. We do have similar action sequences, basic plot points. It's the same movie, but I think it's almost like comparing like Ralph Bakshi's original Lord of the Rings cartoon to like Peter Jackson's Fellowship, where like they're telling the same story. They're using the exact same characters and they all hit the same basic plot points. But one lets the characters breathe. It gives the film and the world it exists in more time to establish itself and like, you know, put you through the paces of like getting to know people. You're right, Warner Brothers did jump the gun and they did not give certain characters standalone films beforehand that they should have, and it's a miracle that we were able to have such good character development for Cyborg in this film, and the fact that it was all cut is just like really fucking annoying. So I think that like it's one of those times where it is 100% too long. It is overindulgent, absolutely. But I will
Agreed.
take it over Josstice League like over a second. Like in a second's notice, I would do it. Like I would watch this film over and over again by comparison. And I'm also just personally, I'm a real big fan of Snyder's like visual style. I really like it. I do get annoyed with the music video stuff, but other than that, like I genuinely like him. I really liked what he was trying to go for with this new interpretation of Superman and Batman, and the fact that their arcs were like brought back to what they should have been also makes me, as fans of those characters and the story arc that was started, like very happy that it was completed. I'm also just personally one of those people that likes sitting in a world. I enjoy world building. If I like the characters and stuff, I'll sit there because I just want more, because I just enjoy being there. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy, you know, the extended trilogies of The Hobbits and Lord of the Rings, because I'm just like, give me more, give me more. Like I just want to be in this world. So I personally, I'll be watching that movie and I'll go, yeah, that scene doesn't really need to be here, but I'm cool sitting through it because I like this world, kind of thing. So like when it comes to like if I were to give this a purely critical like review compared to Josstice League, I would probably give it like a 7. I think it's just like a solid, good movie. It's got problems, but I think the good outweighs the bad for the most part. But if I take into account just like my own personal, you know, style and what I like and stuff, I'd probably give it like an 8.5 or a 9, just on pure enjoyment for me. But like I totally, it's not the best movie. It's definitely got some problems, and I can absolutely, Snyder's style is very divisive. Like not everyone's gonna like it, but if you like Snyder and you wanted more time with these characters, like you're gonna eat this movie up. And like that's kind of the same thing with Batman v Superman. It's like if you don't like Snyder and you don't like the kind of the visual style he was going for in that movie, the extended cut is not going to help you. But if your main problem with that movie was Lex Luthor's plot makes no sense and Superman is just kind of doing things just to do them, then the extended cut does fix those, like because you can actually see where like the mechanics of Lex's like plan are like interfering, and there's like added bits that like make certain scenes that were left in that film make so much more sense. And just I guess I kind of got off topic right there, but like just to bring that back, so that's like another example of how sometimes a film, even if it is too long, it needs time to breathe and tell its story correctly. And I think that's very important. So yeah, just overall, it wasn't a bad film, but it wasn't a great film. But for me, I really enjoyed it.
All right. That's fair enough.
Understandable, my friend. I understand you.
And at the end of the day, it all comes down to personal taste anyway.
It
Oh,
sure
yeah.
does. I mean,
Absolutely.
I like some pretty god awful movies. So
I don't know. Hot Rod's a pretty perfect movie.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. There's nothing wrong with that film at all.
You're not wrong. That is a great fucking movie. So at least we can all agree on that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I did, because you brought up the animated DC stuff. I did want to say earlier, and I forgot about it, that DC does. There are people at DC who do know how to make good film stuff, because the animated movies are generally very good.
Yeah, they are.
And I like
They're
them.
excellent.
You should just get the writers who do that stuff to just fucking do a live action.
I agree. What's funny is when I saw the DC animated movies for Wonder Woman, they did a film for Wonder Woman like 10 years ago. I remember watching that and going, if you just translated this to live action, it'd be the best live action Wonder Woman film.
Right.
And they didn't. I still enjoyed the Wonder Woman film we got, but I still think that if they took that story and just made it live action, it would have been better.
Right.
I need to travel back to my childhood and watch fucking Mask of the Phantasm, because
That's a good movie.
I used to watch that all the time when I was a fucking kid, man. I used to have it on VHS.
I still have it on
Classic fucking
VHS.
Batman the animated series is seriously so good. It's fantastic.
It is really good.
Yeah, that's like one of Batman's best forms, honestly.
Oh yeah, Kevin Conroy is Batman to me.
He absolutely is. And Mark Hamill is Joker. Like you literally can't beat it. It's so good.
That's why that show is why Clayface became my favorite villain, and he's never been done justice anywhere else.
Too, yeah,
he's such a cool villain.
He is really cool
as Clayface in the Harley Quinn TV show, but that's like the only thing I've seen him in recently.
Yeah,
yeah, he's gonna be. I don't know if they'll ever put him in live action, but
I know it might be kind of hard, but God, he's so cool. I don't know what it is about Clayface.
I mean,
his name is cool too. I don't know what it is. Clayface. It's just a cool name.
If they wanted to make him realistic, they could just go back to like how he originally was, where he was just like a master of disguise. And like, because he didn't get like the mud changing powers for like a little bit. I think the cartoon was actually the first thing that gave him that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
So like, I could see them doing a realistic take. Personally, I would much rather have
the big fucking goopy guy Clayface.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And like Ron Perlman voiced him in the animated series.
Oh really?
Voice again. It'd be so good.
That's fucking awesome.
Very good. It was very good. And speaking of the DC film stuff, there have been good DC films too. It's just weird that anything with like the Superman and Flash and stuff in it just doesn't seem to land very well. Because I like Shazam. I thought that was a good movie. I had fun with that movie.
I think that's their Guardians of the Galaxy. Shazam was like this kind of like people knew him, but he wasn't an A-list hero, and they gave him the director freedom. And like I still think Shazam is the best DC movie they've done. I think
probably my favorite one.
The casting is fantastic. That movie is hilarious. Like it does a wonderful job of capturing what like a 12-year-old would do if they got superpowers.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched. I haven't watched through the whole thing. I think I watched maybe half of it. I need to watch it.
I think it's a really good movie. That's also a film that I think does a very good job of like building on itself, and like the Act 3 in that film is like really great.
Yeah, it is really good. I liked it a lot. But that was good. DC just needs to take a few different steps, and I think they can get there. They just need
I think they should fully embrace this multiverse idea, and I think they should just give directors freedom to do whatever interpretation, and that way you can have like a litter of like way too different like crazy things. Like you want ultra realistic Batman, watch Robert Pattinson in The Batman. You want this version of Batman, watch this. If you want like a Batgirl movie, go on HBO Max. If you want this, like go, you know what I mean? Like I think they could just do whatever, and Marvel has the interconnected storylines down. Don't try and like
copy that stuff.
Yeah, just if you do your own thing, build your own multiverse, that's unique, that's cool, do it that way. Give us another Joker type movie, like give us some really weird crazy interpretation.
And it would make more sense for DC to do that too, because Marvel obviously uses the multiverse stuff, But DC did that stuff way before Marvel did.
And they use it very differently as well.
Yeah, they do use it very differently, yes. But, I mean, Into the Spider-Verse is still like one of my favorites.
Oh, it's so good.
So
Can't wait for that sequel.
yeah,
it's gonna be great. But yeah, no, I agree. I think they need to stop copying Marvel and they need to just do their own thing and embrace their own thing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they would be much better off finding their own stick than anything else.
Yeah.
So I am very interested in Suicide Squad. See how that goes.
Yes, I mean, yeah. For me, like at this point, it's less about like what the superhero movie is, and more just about like who's involved. Like I like Zack Snyder, so obviously I was pumped for this. I love James Gunn. That's the main reason I'm excited for the new Suicide Squad, because I really disliked the theatrical cut of Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah,
like it was
bad.
Not great. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So like I think I'm just excited to see what he can do with these characters, and it's gonna be outrageous. Like I heard him say a thing where like part of his condition on joining was they basically let him just like do whatever the hell he wanted, so he was able to just like kill off any character he wanted. So it's just like I'm sure there's gonna be a moment where like they set up a character to be super important and just immediately murder them in a hysterical fashion.
He's gonna kill off Nathan Fillion. I'm gonna be sad.
And like apparently John Cena's character is getting his own TV show, and James Gunn is doing that too. That man is busy. He's going straight from Suicide Squad to the Peacemaker TV show to Guardians 3.
Yep.
They tried to cancel him, and now the man is richer than ever.
Yep.
Right?
It's true.
Dude, yeah. See, he should probably just take a nap after you finish all these movies, dude.
Right.
On all the fucking money he's gonna have.
Right. Stacks.
Just sleep on that cash.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the Snyder stuff?
Pretty much hit it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? The only one thing that I wanted to bring up real quick that we didn't really talk about, but we talked about when me and Zach and Sean were watching it, was like just some of the like the weird like plot like points that they set up to like almost make it seem like they were working as a team outside of like combat that felt really forced. Like when they were like sneaking back into that fucking wherever Cyborg's dad worked. They were sneaking to Star Labs to go revive Superman. Like they're like sneaking all around to get in this fucking thing, and it's like, dude, Cyborg's dad is like the fucking head of this place. Just fucking call him up and be like, hey, Dad, we need to come in there and revive Superman. Can you let us in? Like, you don't have to dress up like fucking military.
He hates his father. He would never contact his father.
I mean, he
Also,
saved his
Cyborg's
dad
like a
from
super
dying.
hacker.
So like,
well, yeah, but like, so wait, are you referencing the Josstice League cut or the Snyder cut?
I'm referencing the Snyder cut. I mean, both really, because they did it in both.
Josstice League doesn't have. It's funny. I just rewatched parts of Josstice League, and there isn't like when they go to rescue Superman, they literally just drive up to Star Labs, walk in, and go right. Like there's nothing. There's no security. They just walk in.
Oh really?
And
I swear they had. I swear they still did the whole fake ID thing. But
so weird. There's nothing, and then here Cyborg hacks in, sets off the alarm, gets everyone to evacuate, and then they go in and because he still hates his dad at that point in the movie.
I guess, but like
he gets to watch him die.
He saved his dad though, like just a little bit earlier. So like he's got to have some kind of compassion, and like again, I understand he hates his dad, but like his dad doesn't hate him. So like if he were to just call his dad and be like, hey man, obviously our things are tough between us, but we kind of got to save the world here. Can you let us in so we can revive Superman? Like
also the Flash is
probably would have worked, but yeah.
Also the Flash is also there, and he could have just fucking gone in.
He could have just carried Superman in a fucking second. That's all. Yeah. But I mean, that's just a minimal thing, just one of those stupid nitpicky things. And I was like, why do they? I mean, I get that they gotta, make a plot and make the movie 4 hours long or whatever the fuck they got to do. So, but just like weird stuff like that, where it just seemed like very convoluted when they're like superheroes. Like, do they really need to like dress up like fucking military people and sneak into this building? Like,
also the
military gear.
Yeah, fucking Barry Allen was wearing like a military like hat and like fucking uniform and stuff. Like do they really need to do that? Like they're superheroes. Like,
right. Also, when the parademons are attacking people and they're like drawing what they look like, why do they look like Batman? Parademons look nothing like Batman.
Look, it's like a dark figure with wings. Oh, you mean Batman? Not really, but I'm just gonna draw Batman.
It's not even that dark. They have like armor on. They have green skin and bug wings. It doesn't look like Batman.
and red eyes or whatever
I
the
think,
fuck.
I think every single eyewitness like dropped their glasses and was like,
I guess.
Oh, God, is it Batman? Why is Batman like screeching at me? This is weird.
The one other weird part was apparently the parademons are also afraid of the police, I guess. Because there was a parademon about to break into, I think, Victor's house, right? He was gonna
that's right.
Yeah.
and then the police pull up and the fucking thing runs away like it fucking cares that the police just pulled up. Like,
it cuts down and then takes off.
Yeah.
the
Shit, I
fuck
can't go
does
to
it care
jail.
that the
I can't
police
go
just
back to
showed
jail.
up? Jesus Christ! I was like, what the hell was that? Like,
I'm not
hello?
going back.
Parademons are afraid of the fuzz, I guess.
Look, it's got the PTSD. It did some hard time, that parademon.
I guess so. Maybe it was like a ex-criminal in a previous life before it turned into a parademon, and a little bit of its inner character shown through or something. But yeah, I thought that was weird too. That like this parademon just like runs away from the police for some reason. That was kind of weird, but But I think that was probably the last point. I don't think I have anything else to complain about. So
yeah, that's definitely just like an odd movie moment, you know?
Yeah,
odd
like
choice. Odd choice, but
yeah,
it is what it is. That's funny. But I'm looking forward to Black Widow is going to be coming to Disney Plus.
That's right. Yeah, Black Widow's coming out. That's going to be dope. We're excited for that. There's just a lot of really great comic book stuff coming out. We have Black Widow, and then obviously Loki is dropping once Falcon and Winter Soldier ends. And then we're getting next Spider-Man movie, Suicide Squad, obviously, and then Flash next year, and Aquaman 2 next year, along with all of Marvel's stuff as well.
I can't wait for Spider-Man 3.
That's going to be so good. I hope, is Spider-Verse 2 supposed to come out next year?
I think so. I think it's 2022.
I want it. I want it bad.
Doctor Strange with Sam Raimi and hopefully Bruce Campbell.
Yo, that makes me so stoked. Fucking Sam Raimi is the man. My favorite director. Like, because of you, Darren. Because of you, you introduced me to Sam. Fucking.
Am I really the one who introduced you to Evil Dead?
Yes, you are.
Oh my God, you're welcome.
Same. You introduced me to Evil Dead as well.
Damn, I didn't know that I was so influential.
Yeah, I had no idea that shit existed until you showed us.
Oh my God. Well,
Stoked
I'm glad I could show you guys the way.
Introduced me to the Bruce Campbell.
I see Brett's even got an Army of Darkness poster in the background there.
Yep, and Evil Dead. Both of them right there.
Come a long way, my friends.
Right?
Hell yeah. You owe it all to you.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you, Brett, for being on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for your perspective, because obviously, we didn't like it, but it's we're all friends, so it is good to hear your perspective, and as somebody who likes it. So
yeah, and like for me, like my roommate, he's a film guy, but he doesn't like comic book stuff, not nearly as much. So like I'm watching this and I'm like it feels good to be able to talk to people that also like comic book shit,
Right.
And like even if we disagree on the film itself, like I just enjoy talking about it with my buddies.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, man.
I don't know if you want to shout out your website or anything.
Of course. Thank you for prompting me. Anybody who is watching, if you go to theholygoof.com, it's a wonderful site for all kinds of media stuff. We got all kinds of stuff on movies, video games, television shows. We have a channel on YouTube as well. I post videos where I review films and talk about different kinds of films, and that is called Brett's Flicks. We also have Anime for Amateurs, which is two of our guys talking about different anime shows. We have a record, Zach's Record Corner, and that is just all about music. Like we do a lot. So if you enjoyed our ramblings about film, head on over there, check out the YouTube, check out our website, and enjoy.
I may or may not have an article on that website.
He does.
Hey.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
I'm
genuinely fighting to get even more added constantly. So.
And that was theholygoof.com. everybody.
Yes.
Theholygoof.com.
Yep. So that was a lot of fun. We'll have to have you back. I wanna do a podcast about Kong versus Godzilla when that comes out.
Oh, I'd love to. Yes, I'm
Definitely.
so excited for that movie.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on, man. And honestly, any of our friends out there that are listening, if you feel like you have something that you can contribute to us, reach out and let us know. Anybody who may be listening who thinks that they have something to contribute in general, reach out. We'll have you on if you need to if you heard something that we were talking about and you didn't like it and you disagree and you want to talk to us about it, we'll make a podcast episode about it.
You can just come on, tell me to go fuck myself. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Be great.
I'll do it.
On camera.
This ain't no OnlyHands. That shit's free. You know how to pay.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to do it.
But yeah, no, for real. Any friends who think that they, have something they want to talk about, video games, anything you're passionate about, some type of video game, TV show, movie, reach out. Let us know. We'll talk to you about it. And again, anybody out there who's listening who, maybe listened to an episode and said, hey, I really liked that. I want to talk more about it. Or I didn't like that. We'd be glad to have anybody on here because we're new and we just want to talk to everybody about anything that you're interested in. So,
yeah, I know it's like to have interests and have people to not talk about it with. So if there's anything anybody wants to talk about, I'm always up for learning something new. So.
Hey, now that you mention it, I was looking in this book I found called the Kama Sutra, and I really wanted to try something with you two guys. Would you be game?
Oh.
Yes.
Hey. What's that book about? Is that book about like cooking food or something? You trying to cook with us?
Exactly what it is. You are correct.
All right. Nice.
Is it the Kama Sutra?
Yep. It's all about food.
Oh, hell yeah. Eating something. That's for sure.
Got a few options.
Yeah. And this is a trend on the podcast. We tend to devolve into debauchery at the end of the episode. So.
That's true.
Last time I was talking about how I wasn't jerking off, so just,
I'm happy to contribute to the tradition.
That's good. It needed to be here.
There would be no one better. Honestly, you two guys, and I know we're trying to wrap this up, but you two guys are like the first two guys that I, met in high school that like kicked off like this whole like group of friends that I've had for like a decade. Remember walking down into Brett's fucking basement, seeing Zach's dumbass, and he saw my dumbass with my long ass hair, and
back when Zach had long hair.
And here we are, all these years later, still talking about bullshit and being friends. So you love to see it, right, guys?
You do love to see it. It's been a wonderful, wonderful life experience.
Wonderful journey. Wonderful journey.
Yeah, I love you guys too, man.
Yeah, I love you guys. So,
I don't know what I would do without you guys.
Before this turns into a dick sucking session, like it usually does. But we appreciate anybody out there who's listening. As always, keep listening. Share it with your friends if you think they'd be interested in listening to our bullshit. Definitely appreciate it. So
we have somebody from Turkey and somebody from Germany who apparently listens. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. International listeners, hell yeah.
We don't have anybody from Russia, so I can't say Dostoevsky, but.
It's true. 28% of our viewers is female, so I appreciate that too.
28. Well, thanks for having me on here, guys. I really do love talking to you and dicking around like this.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for coming on. It's
anytime, man. We really appreciate you coming on and contributing to the cause. So
yes,
yeah,
always a joy. And I miss you, man. Don't get to see you
again. Miss you too. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to be able to come up at least a little bit sometime this year. So hopefully I can see you guys soon.
Sweet deal. You could always, and like I said before, you could always come stay with me if you want.
Hell yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I guess that wraps it up. So I guess we'll see all you listeners on the next episode.
All right. Thanks again. Have a good night or day, whenever it is.
Wherever you are. Enjoy it.